did our presentation on the Great Wall of China.
I created the guard tower, which is the top part of this, and it wasn't very simple to do because of the curve at the top. I used 2 squares to create it, and then I used half a sphere to make the curve to it. And then once it was printed out, I took some sandpaper and I sanded it down so that way it would look more even, and that solved the uneven problem with it a lot.
I did the Great Walls of China, and one wall is usually 3.1 miles long to each guard tower, and the height of one wall is usually the height of a wall is usually 23 feet. I scaled it down to 8 by 8, 8 inches long and 8 inches high, and the wide I did the width of 3 inches to fit on one board. To create this wall, I used triangles for the length of the wall and squares to make the shooting holes and the crenels. The challenges were making the crenels because you have to make sure each of them are sized correctly, and the shooting holes. And the time. The time of the walls took a really long time because of the length. Because we did the maximum length for the wall, so it can be really big. I overcame these challenges by fitting the walls really thin, copying and pasting, and asking for help.
I created the base of the guard tower, which is right here, which is what the guard tower rests on. It was one of the easier parts of the projects because it's just 2 squares put on top of each other, and then you had to detail them, which made it a little bit harder. And then the first block, like the big block right here, is 6 by 6 inches, and its job was to hold the upper part of the base and the guard tower itself, and then the upper part of the base was a square that I readjusted to 6 inches by 2 inches, so it would fit the rules of the 3D printer. Next, we added 16 rectangular holes so we could match the actual base of the guard tower on the real Great Wall of China. Lastly, we put a 5 by 5 inch square hole on top of the base so the actual guard tower can rest inside of the hole. And then some group challenges were miscommunication, materials for project, and new members and members leaving. And we use the same websites to get this information as we did on the original one. And, yeah.
Alright, cool.
Alright, so, now remember, you're gonna get the same question, so this is why I gave you the rubric early, so that you can really, and I don't wanna hear the same thing over and over again. How did you divide your work?
Well, we actually did our work on separate, I guess it was called Tinkercads. We did separate, because we put it on one originally, but then everyone started deleting each other's work, so we're like, we're going to divide this into separate ones.
Okay.
So,
But how did you, that would have been the challenges.
yeah.
So how did you determine who was doing what?
Well, I was going to have, I was going to do part of the walls, and so was Quamir, but then he left, so I ended up doing all of the walls. And he decided to do the guard tower, this part, and then she wanted to do the guard tower because she was actually better at Tinkercad than everyone, and this was the hardest part to make.
Who was the first to speak up in the group to determine what?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for, is they want to look to how you establish leadership.
Yeah,
And did you determine this based on just age? It's your I mean,
I just thought I was like the.
You're a little more mature.
Yeah.
You're a junior student versus a freshman student versus you're used. Were they looking up to you, or did you just step up and go? This is what we need to do.
Yeah, they were discussing. I was like, no, actually, we're gonna go do this. And this.
Okay. Okay, very good. Okay, so what did you learn from this aspect of the project? Delegating, communicating, all this. What did you learn?
We learned how to work together better. At first it was a big mess, and then eventually on we started to communicate more and talk about it more, and we learned a lot about
Yeah.
teamwork.
Yeah, we also helped each other. If we didn't know how to do one part, then one of our teammates would step up and help us do it.
What challenge did you face losing one member and gaining a new member at the end of the project?
Well, losing one member, I just had to do all 3 walls, which took a long time because it's actually hard to make walls because of the crenelles and the shooting holes. And gaining one member, she helped us write the presentation, and we explained to her about and she also helped us paint the Great Wall.
So she stepped right up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, good. So now we look at the summation. What does building this thing tell you about the people who originally constructed it?
That they had a strong central government and like they could be able to have that much extra supplies to be able to build this and have that much power.
How long was the Great Wall of China overall? Do you remember?
It's like I remember it from the first, but I can't remember.
I know it's
Just
in like,
estimated, I mean.
I know it's like around, I remember 50 something thousand. I don't know, it was in meters or something like that, so I just know it was really, really long.
The reason I asked is talking about power.
Mhm.
It's an
Yeah.
amazing thing that one emperor can
Well,
have
it
that
was
many
divided
It was
people
multiple.
that long
Yeah.
of a distance
It was-
continue a project. That's not easy to do.
Well, 2 emperors, because it was in the
Well,
7th and 8th
started-
century.
that's correct.
Yeah.
But the people who built it, were they paid?
No.
It was mostly slaves and prisoners.
Right.
Was it built to keep people in or to keep people out?
Keep people out.
Keep
Who?
people out and like a statement of power.
It
Who's
was,
on the other side?
I think it was to keep, I know it was to keep the emperor safe. But I
Oh, no,
don't-
definitely, because the enemy outside the wall was probably the greatest threat at that time.
Think about it, to build a wall like that, how afraid are you of what's on the other side, right?
Yeah.
What do you
Think about it, horseback, who are these people?
Nomads.
They were nomads.
There you go. Also, if they're from Mongolia, they're called the what?
Mongolian Empire.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
No, the Mongols. The Mongols,
Yeah,
for
that.
sure. And being that they knew they were horseback based, that wall would be effective.
Now, let me ask you, did the wall actually keep them out?
No, I think it was the people who were in the wall, like the
But-
guards, yeah.
Well, no, that's not what I'm asking. Was it actually the wall itself that kept them out, or was it something else that kind of,
It was their reputation
of whom?
of the emperor and what he would do with his army.
Okay, so it was a reputation that he could manipulate all this and do it. Okay, very good. So the functions were to, I'm just writing this down. All right, so what aspects of a civilization, and you told me this in the PowerPoint, what aspects of a civilization have to be in place for your project to have been completed? And
Like
you-
excess of supplies, like abundancy of like all the supplies that you need to build it, the workforce, and then like I said earlier, strong central government.
Very good. Okay.
Definitely a line of communication of some
Yeah.
Okay. What did you not like about using a visual design program?
It can be confusing at times.
Oh, yeah.
And when you have more than one person on one Tinkercad, it can log you off like completely, and you have to wait for it to load again and get back on.
I'll talk to my tech guy to make sure that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
I gotta do it, so.
Never gonna go away. And one thing y'all, and the other group went to, is one part of group work is knowing when it doesn't make sense to work together. When it's better to delegate, like we've been saying, you take this part and go over there and do that part, and then come back when you're done. And both of y'all did a good job with that.
Okay. What would you do differently in the second 9 weeks when you face the challenge of the second part of this project?
I think divide the work out more too.
Okay.
Are you saying that then some people were more overwhelmed than others, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, if you're gonna work as a team, all of you should feel the weight of it, right?
Yeah.
Anything else that you can think of?
I think everything else is fine. Yeah.
Okay, you kind of learned as you went along?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so how is an understanding of math important to the 3D design, make 3D designing easier?
Well, it was very hard because this wall is really big, so it's hard to break it down to an 8x8 wall. Because one wall is 3.1 miles, so it was really hard to decide. So I just went with the biggest measurements to make a big wall.
But did you need mathematics to do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Especially the young lady talking about the geometrical shapes that you had to use to get the curve going. I mean, that's not easy to do. I mean, that's trial and error too, probably. You know, next time you do it, you'll have a better understanding on how the curve and how all that would be proportional.
So did you need an extremely extensive background in math, or could you use basic math to do what you needed?
Basic math.
Basic math, okay. Okay, so what additional tools and or resources could you have used or did you need, if any?
Well, I liked having a mouse you could plug in instead of the mouse pad because I couldn't really control it with the mouse pad.
Mouse, okay. Anything else that you think you could have used that you didn't have?
Oh, I didn't have Lego Man. I could fit in the guard tower.
You need a Lego
Yeah,
man,
I didn't
okay.
have
Nice.
any.
It would've looked good.
Yeah, I didn't.
We could have built you one. You could have designed it.
What,
Okay.
real quick, what weapons would be most effective from the wall?
Well,
Do you understand what he's asking?
yeah, like, I mean, I guess they could use like spears and like bow and arrows and stuff like that.
Distance weapons.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna keep them as far away from me as possible, because hopefully we wouldn't have to go hand to hand, because at that point, they've overrun the wall at that
Yeah.
point. And real quick, if you don't mind, just some future advice when doing projects and using PowerPoint. PowerPoints were created for exactly how that slide looks right there. See, when I walk away today and you ask me about the group challenges, I can remember those 4 bulletins that you put up there, those bullets. Be careful about when you do projects in the future writing full paragraphs up there, because we'll get lost in that information because you want us to remember it, right? So shorten that information and try to make bullets and stuff as points, what I call points of emphasis. Okay, don't get caught in writing the link. Don't get me wrong, all that information is great, but don't you want me to remember it when I walk away? I can't remember reading a full, and a lot of times after the first, second, third sentence, I'm gonna stop reading. And some of that information is important. So keep that in mind when you go forward from now on in college. When you use PowerPoint slides, that's the reason it was created, was for the short, quick, important information. Okay? It was a great job, by the way. You did wonderful.
When you were building were you able to build a whole sections of the wall, or did you have to do anything special to it?
I had to print separately. So like the top part of the wall, I had to print separately than the bottom because it would have taken hours.
Okay, yeah, so time was a
Yeah.
factor.
And we
Okay,
had to like hollow out like everything we had to print because it would take like 40 hours to print some stuff. So Mr. Herring had to go in and hollow it out.
At his house that night.
And last but not least, great job, and I wish I could stay for all of them, but it appears based on my short time here looking at the projects, and invest in some Gorilla Glue too.
Yes.
Okay, Gorilla Glue. It seems like, so if you drop it, you can fix it. Thank y'all, good job.